but I care. Or I want to use that for something important. I waited a long time for this team up. In my world, you're well regarded. You were an X-Man. Fuck that, you were the X-Man. The Wolverine. He's a hero in my world.
Yeah, well, he ain't shit in mine. Scott used to beg me to wear this suit. So did Doran and Beast. But I couldn't have him thinking I wanted to be there. And it was too late.
It's only 9 people, but my entire world is right here in this picture. And I have no idea how to save it alone, but you know how to save them.
Whoever you think I am, you got the wrong guy.
You were always the wrong guy. Till you weren't.
Are you ready? Fuck yeah, I'm ready. I'm the Wolverine. Stop it.
Welcome to the After Hours podcast. Super hyped for tonight. Excited about tonight. Have to do the proper intros. You know how we do it over here. Big movie fans over here. Love for the cinema is here. I just came up with a quote the other day. I told this to Dan the other night. Cinema is where our imaginations come to thrive, and the movies is where we see the stories that will shape the rest of our lives. That's how we do it over here at J House. We love the cinema, so I love showing trailers. I love my trailers. I hate to be late to the movies for the trailers. So speaking of which, I will be there probably Saturday, maybe not Thursday midnight or Friday, but I will be going to see Deadpool and Wolverine that Saturday that it comes out. So the Saturday after. So it's going to be quite an event, and I'm super hyped for it. Welcome to the show, co-host Evan Elliott, the OG. We got Dan in the house, a.k.a. the Lore Master. So we're back for another great episode tonight. And how you feel? How you guys feeling? How you guys doing?
It could be good. Just ate chili dogs, so that slows you down.
Yeah, you're going to have to poop really soon, probably.
That sucks.
It's coming for you. It's coming.
Sonic never had to deal with this.
How you feel, Ev? How you feeling tonight, bud?
Oh, man. I'm just chilling. Got my fresh Guinness poured, and I'm ready to talk about some movies.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. So, tonight, I want to start off with the new. Well, we've had two big things happen with the MCU. Number one was the confirmation via, I think it was Variety or Hollywood Reporter, one of those, confirmed that the Russo brothers, the architects behind Winter Soldier, Civil War, Avengers Infinity War, and Endgame, are returning to the MCU to do Avengers 5 and 6, which possibly brings with it a lot of restructure concerning how phase 5 was going to go. So with them returning is probably going to bring a lot of restructure, moving some things around, cutting some things out that are unnecessary, moving forward into the future of the MCU, and then topped by the news that we have Deadpool and Wolverine, of course. So coming out, which is Kevin Feige says on a scale of 1 to 10, Avengers Endgame and Infinity War being 9 and 10, Deadpool and Wolverine is at an 8 in terms of how it will impact the MCU, he said. So how are you guys feeling about Deadpool and Wolverine? And is there a reawakening for the MCU or a course correction for the MCU coming now that the Russo brothers are back and Deadpool and Wolverine is upon us?
I'll let Dan tackle this one first.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm excited for Deadpool and Wolverine, and it's a massive improvement from a good amount of Phase 4. I don't even know if we're on Phase 5 now. I don't know if you guys remember, but Kevin Feige did say at least I think a while ago that he'd be course correcting the MCU after the mountains of complaints that
Yeah.
have come up. Honestly, I'd say the issues with Phase 4 is the same issues with the sequel trilogy. One of the statements Kevin made, I think, post Endgame, was that their goal was to make more female superheroes than male superheroes. Now, I'm not here to make this a gender thing, but I don't know why that was the focus of the MCU moving forward. But it made things confusing. Like in WandaVision, Doctor Strange was supposed to show up towards the end of that show, but Kevin Feige said in an interview that he didn't want like a white man saving the day, so Doctor Strange didn't make an appearance and Wanda fought Agatha on her own. But as Sorcerer Supreme, the multiverse is his domain, and all the stuff that was happening in that show was a multiverse event. So because of social political I guess messages, the lore and world of your story had to be put to a halt, which to me that's just bad writing. But I hope that moving forward with the MCU after Deadpool and Wolverine, I hope they don't learn from this, that all they have to do is just throw in nostalgia cameos for comic book fans of characters from movies and shows and books that they like DC has. I hope they learn that they should put focus on story before anything else when it comes to entertainment moving forward, especially if Deadpool and Wolverine does well. I hope the takeaway from that should be we should write and create better movies that entertain fans. That should be the main priority.
Facts. I would agree. Evan, what about you, man?
I mean, I share a lot of the same sentiments. I mean, I'm excited for this movie, but I think the problem with Phase 4 hasn't really been a greater focus on women. I think that might be like a problem. If you're going to talk about, we're going to focus more on promoting an agenda than we are the story itself. I don't think that's the main issue, though. I think the main issue is a couple of things. One being, I think there was, with the exception of No Way Home, that being the one exception, I think ever since Endgame, there's just been kind of a, how do I word this? There's been a small, not massive, but kind of a small slope downhill in hype for the MCU. Because once Endgame dropped, I was like, where do you go from here? Like, where could you possibly... It's like, you win the Super Bowl. Where do you go up from the Super Bowl? That's what Endgame was. No Way Home, obviously, was a massive hit. Because, you bring back Toby, Andrew, Willem, Alfred Molina, everybody. So, I mean, of course, that film was going to be successful. But for the first time, really, since the MCU's taken off, the MCU's in a position where they're releasing products, or they released some products that people really didn't care for, like She-Hulk, Falcon and Winter Soldier got some mixed reviews.
Moon Knight.
WandaVision, look, I'm gonna say this to the day I die. Looking back at that show, the only reason we cared so much is because we were in COVID and there was literally nothing else to talk about. Like Eric, you remember we did like an episode for
Yeah,
that
we
show.
did. Yeah, we did.
We just had nothing else to do.
Yeah.
We had to milk the heck out of that show and talk
Yeah.
about it. And they brought back Quicksilver just to make a boner joke. I mean, we'll never forget that one.
We reviewed every single episode of that show.
Oh
I
yeah,
feel bad for you guys.
bro, we had nothing else to talk about. We did that and top 10 lists. That was all we ever had to talk about. And speculation about the Snyderverse. That was the extent of J House in the year 2020.
Yeah.
But as far as Deadpool and Wolverine is concerned, I think this film is definitely gonna. I mean, maybe not necessarily revamp hype, because I think, despite everything I just said in Phase 4, you've had Guardians 3, you've had films here and there that have been successful. Nothing on in-game level hype, and we might talk about this later. I sent you a text earlier. I don't think the MCU will ever have another movie in-game level hype. I don't think that'll ever happen, even with the Russo brothers returning. And we can talk more about that later. But as far as Deadpool and Wolverine go, I think the film's definitely going to not necessarily revamp hype, but I think it's going to add to the hype. I think this movie is definitely going to add to the hype of the MCU. Hugh Jackman coming back, that's huge. I mean, Logan was one of the best superhero films I've ever seen. Just phenomenal. So for him to return off the cusp of that, I mean, that was huge. So I think this movie will be the highest grossing. Well, it'll be close. I think Wolverine and Deadpool has a chance to be the highest grossing rated R film of all time. I think it'll definitely.
It's probably going to beat out Joker for that title. I would definitely. I'm willing to put money on that.
I would say so too. Now,
Only they do. Sorry, just saying the subtitle. Go on.
I think it definitely will. And, you know, if Kevin's talking about restructuring the MCU moving forward, listen, I have no reason to doubt Kevin Feige. If Kevin Feige says we're going in this direction, I've got decades of, you know, trusting him, and I ain't been let down yet. So Kevin's earned that trust with me where I'm like, you know what, Kevin, if you're taking it this direction, let's go that direction. I think Wolverine and Deadpool is definitely going to be the start of something new, something fresh for the MCU. And I think, like you said, Eric, we got Spider-Man 4 coming, X-Men's coming, Fantastic Four is coming. So we could be looking at the birth of the next MCU. Maybe we get to Phase 1 and 2 level hype again. I still don't think we're ever going to see Phase 3 level hype again. But I think we're definitely going to see an MCU stay. Like, okay, so if you put Endgame up here, I think we're going to see an MCU stay about right here. It's wildly successful. Maybe never quite up here again, but right about here. Which is a DC fan, I'd love to see DC get to even just here for once.
Yeah, I would agree, and even that level, I would be happy for the MCU to reach at this point. For me, what made Phase 1 through 3 special wasn't just the movies; it was just getting butts in seats, getting people to the theaters to sit down and watch movies. And as long as the MCU was coming out with those stories that just kept people coming and kept building and building, everyone was going to be there. Me and you were in college, I think respectively at the time, when Endgame came out, and I remember going that night and with Tess and a whole bunch of other people, we went to go see Endgame, and again, man, packing out those theaters like that in ways that not even, I mean, just I've never seen in my life. And so that's where that magic happens, I think. And for Kevin Feige and the MCU, now let me be clear. I understand the hard work, the colossal effort that it takes not only to make a movie, but to even maintain a universe this long for like a decade plus, man. So I'm not just getting on here talking as someone who's a fan. I'm getting on here to say like, man, like it's hard work being put in. It takes colossal effort by so many people to do this. So with that being said, I think that with Spider-Man coming, of which I think Tom Holland is perfectly capable of being the face of the MCU as Spider-Man. I think his movie, this next trilogy, I think he's about to embark on with Spider-Man can be some of the best we've seen yet. In addition to bringing back Toby and Andrew every now and then, as those are rumors, but and then you have the X-Men, of course, which I we've only grown up on the Fox movies, but as I've read the comics, like I told you guys, I spent this whole summer since I've been off work. I've spent this whole summer watching X-Men. Me and Asher kicked it off with X-Men 97, which was brilliant, nominated for Emmys, and then we just decided to, whatever, we're going to go ahead and breeze through all of the OG X-Men from the 90s. And watching that cartoon, which was based off that run at that time and the cultural impact that it had for Marvel and for the X-Men, I understand why the X-Men are held in such high regard. I understand why they are so prominent and why fans are so passionate about them. And the fact that Fox did them somewhat justice but couldn't do them justice all the way is crazy. So this is untapped for Kevin Feige. And if we know Kevin Feige and the team at Marvel Studios, they know how to bring the comic back.
Jay, who wasn't done justice all the way? I just need to rehear.
The X-Men as a whole, as a team.
Okay, got it. Yeah,
as a team, they weren't. Yeah,
I agree with you.
Yeah. So, I mean, I already know Kevin Feige and them are going to do that and get that right. So there's unlimited potential for where the MCU X-Men can go, because I just got that much faith. Like you said, I got that trust in Feige that they can do it. So that's untapped. And then
he's the Nick Saban of making these cinematic universes.
Yeah, he was there for a lot of that went down with the early 2000s under A.V. Arad and Stanley and everyone else. So he is the boss. He's getting his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, which he rightfully deserves as a producer, probably the best producer of the past 20 years with 10 years with what he's been able to do with the MCU. So not only that, but then you just have the Russo brothers coming back, which to me gives me all the confidence in the world, because we're talking about the guys who are responsible for helping ship, along with Ryan. Now, let me give respect, along with Ryan Coogler as well, and everyone who contributed to Phase 3, but mainly the Russo brothers who helped usher us into the end of Phase 3, going into Infinity War and Endgame. What they did with Civil War, brilliant. Infinity War speaks for itself, which is probably my favorite Avengers film of all time, probably Infinity War, and then Endgame, of course. So, I mean, having them back, they're going to move a lot of stuff around. I think they're going to cut off a lot of fat, because Dan talked about his reasons, the reasons he thought Phase 4 was kind of off. I thought Phase 4 was off just because there's just too much fat, and a lot of the characters do deserve shine. They do. But I felt like a bit of it got, very saturated. We got Wanda, we got She-Hulk, we got Moon Knight, all of these different, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which probably didn't even need a show. A lot of these characters didn't even need shows. We would have been better seeing them off in a movie maybe, but just too much going on in Phase 4. I think Loki was great. Loki was pretty good.
Yeah, Loki was good. You think all the shows should have been movies instead?
I definitely think it would have probably served better as movies, because the MCU not only has us hardcore comic book fans, of course, and nerds of such, but you also have the other half that is the other part of it, which is the casual moviegoers, who for the most part have enjoyed and showed that they've enjoyed seeing the bigger main characters on screen and coming to the theaters. And that's where the bread has been for Disney most of all. So the casual fan isn't going to sit there and take time to watch WandaVision or Moon Knight. They have no idea who those characters are. They know who Hulk is. They know who Spider-Man is. They know who Iron Man is. They don't know who this is not in respect to the characters. They don't.
I gotta ask. Have you and Evan seen the Hulk animated series, like the '90s one? See, you guys have seen She-Hulk before, right?
Yeah.
Dude, she was done such a disservice in the MCU. Like, her character was way better in comics and past media, and what they did with her in the MCU, I don't even think they got her personality right.
Shameful.
Just one big mess.
Hulk as a whole got done dirty with the MCU.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, forget She-Hulk for a second. I mean, regular Hulk.
Hulk.
Who the heck asked for a Hulk that looks like Mark Ruffalo and talks in Endgame? But before some MCU stan gets on here and says, I wish I had a pair of glasses, so just imagine I'm wearing glasses. But before some MCU fan comes on here, give them the and gives me the, well, you see, Evan, Professor Hulk actually does exist in this variation of the extended comic. Nobody wanted to see it, bruh. People want to see Hulk smash. And we didn't get to see Hulk smash, and that was a joke. But bringing it back to Deadpool and Wolverine and the MCU moving forward, like, I mean, I agree with a lot of what you're saying about the Russo brothers. I definitely love what I've seen from these trailers. I'm super mega hyped for this movie. I'm probably going to take off work to go see this movie. I mean, I'm at a level of all-time hype for this movie. Both Deadpool movies have been awesome. Well, I mean, the second one, maybe not awesome. It was good. It was solid.
It was
First Deadpool movie I freaking loved. My favorite Stan Lee cameo of all time in the first Deadpool movie. That had me rolling in the theater. I was laughing so hard.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
What was his cameo again in Deadpool?
He was a DJ at a strip club.
Oh.
Yeah.
And he actually has the line, don't forget, folks, you can't buy love, but you can rent it.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm like, oh my gosh, Stan.
Stan is wild.
Wow.
Rest in peace to Big Dog.
Dude had me rolling. But no, look, and maybe we can move to this conversation, still on the MCU, because you and I had some disagreement over this. I made the comment messaging you. Now, granted, before I say this, the MCU doesn't have to achieve this to be wildly successful. But we were talking about, phase 3. And if I ever thought the MCU would make films that reached phase 3 hype, namely films that eclipsed the $2 billion threshold at the box office. And as my opinion stands right now, my answer is a resounding no. I don't think that's going to happen. I think you're going to have movies that cross $1 billion. I think this movie will probably do that. I think Spider-Man 4 will do that. I think Fantastic Four might do that. I think Fantastic Four will probably do about the same as the Guardians movies have done. 700-800 million at the box office, which is still wildly good. Like, that's really good.
Absolutely.
Depending on what your budget is and, what you're expecting the movie to make. But I just don't see us ever going back to phase 3 Infinity War Endgame level hype. And my main reason for that being, Eric, a huge reason that Infinity War and Endgame were so hyped was the villain. I mean, Thanos, in my opinion, is the unquestioned best villain in the MCU. I think Killmonger is a very strong second. But I mean, I think when I think villain of the MCU, obviously I'm going to Thanos, who 1v'd the entire Avengers in Infinity War and beat in a 3v1 Cap, Thor, and Iron Man in Endgame. I think Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumania gave me real doubts about the big baddie Kane moving forward. That was such a disappointing movie. And I would hope that moving forward they would bring in a different villain to be the big bad guy, because I don't think Kang is going to be your $2 billion franchise villain like Thanos was.
He could
I
have
just
been. He really could. He really could have
No,
been, man. King had so much potential, and if like you read the comics or watch anything that is an MCU, Kang is actually intimidating. But unfortunately, the MCU decided to make him a clown, and the only MCU stuff where he is actually intimidating, in my opinion, is the Loki season 1 finale and the Loki season 2 finale. And everything else, including the rest of Loki, Kang is just a joke. Sad to say.
yeah,
oh yeah,
yeah. I mean that's true. I think that now I won't disagree with you there necessarily, because I do think that, because we're talking about quality and then box office, because the movie could make $1 billion and some people still wouldn't like it, and we've seen that in some cases. But I think that if they reach the 2 billion, I'm not saying every film does. I think maybe Avengers and Avengers 5 and 6 definitely will. But again, that all depends on having a string of wildly successful $1 billion movies back to back to back to back, like Phase 3, or just have that build up. You have Fantastic Four. Deadpool's definitely going to probably get another sequel. Uh, the X-Men are coming. Spider-Man, Tom Holland's not done playing the character yet. I think they're going to pull out all the stops. I think they're going to listen to all the fans to kind of put their ear to the street about what the fans are thinking about too, and sort of get the ball rolling. And I think Kevin's going to get back to basics of doing what we have to in order to get fans back in the theater, back where the MCU thrives at. Sort of like where Star Wars needs to get back to, hopefully in the future. Instead of just, which I'm not complaining about the TV shows. I'm not, but I am saying, like, there is an itch to get Star Wars back in the theaters. So we just have to
make
wait,
the Darth Bane trilogy.
man.
Oh yeah, that'll probably do it.
The amount of complaining that I've seen on Twitter and all across the internet about Plagueis being in the Acolyte, I'm not even going to go there, but I'm just saying it is absolutely insane. Like,
Cry me a river.
it's insane.
Cry me a freaking river. Everybody complaining that Leslie Headland actually took the time to give Old Republic fans something, Legend fans, something that they wanted, and then they still want to complain about it. My thing is, go cry me a river, go suck on a baby bottle. I'm done with it. I'm
Like,
done
yeah.
with it.
And lastly, I'll say, before we move on to the next topic, again, it's Disney Star Wars canon. And if they've got too many hands in the pie and mismanaging a lot of things, that's fine. That's on them. They're going to pay the price for that. But, dude, this is not the expanded universe canon. It's not.
Well, and here's what kills me. We give the MCU so many passes that we're not going to give Star Wars. We give them so many passes. We can change up things in the MCU. We can change up. Hold on. For some reason, my mic volume keeps going back up, creating that echo effect. I'm not sure why it keeps wanting to do that. But anyway, we can we don't complain all that much. Like, oh, they changed how Hulk is. They changed how Star Lord is. They changed so many other things in the MCU, and we just give them a pass. But if any little bitty thing is changed in Star Wars, then people want to. Eric, give me the glasses again.
Oh wow.
If I had my own glasses, I would be doing it myself. Eric's seen me do it several times. Whenever I want to mock people, I'll just stick the glasses on and give them the.
I actually
I'll have them ready.
that unironically.
That's how I see people.
I will have them ready for you.
But I mean, it's like I keep making the point. People change from book to movie adaptations all the time. That's not new. It's nothing new to see things from books be changed over to film. And I'm not saying that's always a good thing, but with Star Wars fans, there's just a unique level of complaining and more complaining and more complaining. And I'm thinking to myself, like, look, Leslie is retelling to some extent the story of Plagueis. Maybe Plagueis is behind this coven of witches. Maybe he planned everything. And
that'd be cool.
If we get a season 2, that might be what it is. But I'd be willing to bet my left foot right now if that's what it is. You're still going to get the people with the coming on saying why it's a horrible thing that it happened, because they predetermined that the Leslie Headland products had to suck because of comments that she made before making this series.
I hear people complaining about Plagueis just hiding out in a cave is a problem. Just hiding out and spying, like he doesn't go on stealth missions or anything, like he doesn't, I heard about that. They're complaining about how he looks, like, for crying out loud. I'm like, dude, for a first look at Darth Plagueis, that in live action, that's a pretty hard look. He was scary as heck.
Yeah.
People complain about anything, and it's really freaking annoying.
It's crazy, bro.
And that's what's hard. That's where I had to stop listening to Star Wars fans in general. Like, I just don't care anymore. Like, I have my opinions, but I know there's people out there thinking, oh, well, you just like anything Disney puts out. Ask me about Episode 8. Ask me about Episode 8, and you'll hear how much I love everything Disney puts out. Exactly. Right. Eric's heard my rants. I think I've ripped that movie a new one more than
100 times.
It's a toss-up between Episode 8 of Episode 8 and the 2016 Suicide Squad as which movie I've ripped apart the most.
It's The Last Jedi. 100%.
Because it's like, have I talked more crap about Leto's Joker or Luke's portrayal? That'd be a fun conversation one day. Which character got done worse? Leto's Joker or Luke in Episode 8? Who was the worst interpretation?
Luke.
I'm pretty sure it's Luke from Episode 8, Evan, dude.
Period.
It's a toss-up for me. It really is a toss-up for me. Because you've got overly crybaby, would never do it in a million years Luke, as opposed to Marilyn Manson cosplaying, Marilyn Manson with green hair and a ha 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 ha.
To be fair, Evan, and look, Leto is nowhere near my favorite Jokers in live action. A lot of his scenes did get cut in Suicide Squad. The guy didn't get much of a chance.
Thank God, all of his scenes should have been cut in Suicide Squad. They didn't cut enough scenes. I've seen the deleted scenes of Joker. I saw what I needed to see. They should have cut everything.
Well,
and I'm sorry to cut you off, Dan. I understand.
No, I'm cool, man. It's cool.
I understand sometimes, it's like, oh, well, we didn't get the full picture. Maybe it would have been better. No. More scenes doesn't fix bad acting and a crappy costume design. Those things are not fixed by adding more scenes.
Well, he wasn't supposed to be there to begin with. I think we can all agree with that.
He was there to sell tickets.
I thought with all the tattoos, he was based on Punk Joker, but no, he's just a very bad rendition of Joker.
He just didn't. He wasn't. He just shouldn't have been there. He wasn't supposed to be there yet, like at all.
He's Marilyn Manson with green hair.
Well, did you guys ever see Suicide Squad: Assault on Arkham? Joker's in that, and he's good. I don't think it's really a matter of Joker in the Suicide Squad story. I just think it's the execution. But that's just
it was a bit too early for him to be in the Suicide Squad from that perspective because there was still a lot to.
Why did you have to show that to me, man? Why?
They're twins. They're freaking twins.
I liked Jared Leto's design. It's just that he had no business being there. He just had no business being in the movie.
Well, at least he did a better job as Morbius.
It's just and speaking of that, this leads us into our next topic because it's all about placement.
Hold on. I mean, and that was what came before. I mean, that's
beautiful.
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
You go from that to that. I mean, no pun intended. You've got to be joking.
Yeah.
You've got to be freaking joking. And then
It's not a bad design.
somebody at DC said, "Hey, I got an even better idea. Instead of Manson wannabe, let's make him a school shooter." And then they decided that that was the way to go. So well done, DC.
Hey, Joaquin's look is. Hey, I'll never forget seeing that in theaters. That certified gangster, certified. But
Certified gangster.
speaking of that, we're talking about placement in DC. We all can agree that Leto did not belong in Suicide Squad in 2016. We can agree.
Yeah.
We also had
Or
numerous
in
debates,
ZSJL.
or in ZSJL, if you ascribe to that. We also think about the placement of the early DCEU and what could have been and what could have not been. And one of the biggest complaints, one of the debates that's going on now is James Gunn's Superman movie. We've seen set pics. They have the Hall of Justice in there. The Hall of Justice is in there. Hawk Girl is in the movie. Guy Gardner Green Lantern is there. Miracle Man. All these different DC characters are in this movie along with Superman. And everybody seems to understand the direction that it's going. But some are also concerned about, well, is that a bit much for the first major installment of the DC universe? And we go back to, of course, Batman v Superman. Not the issue being that not so much as, well, Batman and Superman being in the same movie, maybe, but it was more so a lot of people complained, well, the Justice League got introduced at the end of that movie as well in a little 5-minute scene. And so for me, I am a bit concerned about Superman because of that. Because I'm like, if this was just strictly about Superman, then fine, let it be about Superman. If we're going that route, if we're going a one by one character and then build up the universe to the team up deal, if that's where we're going, I can get that. But there is that is something to be concerned about, I would say, if you're gonna do all these characters around Superman and have him in an already established universe where there are superheroes already. So do I view that as something that might derail the movie? No, not necessarily, but I'm just thinking back to how everyone got, a lot of people, not you, Evan, not you, because this was never one of your complaints about BVS. I remember people getting upset about the Justice League being sort of teased in a 5-minute clip with the email. And I think there's a vast difference between doing that, teasing, and then just putting the whole DC universe into a movie with Superman, which I think is, I mean, hey, if James Gunn has a certain way he wants to do it, then if he can make it work, fine. He's done it with Guardians. He's done team movies with Suicide Squad. He knows how he can balance that out. So
That
it
is
might
a
work
fact.
out.
Facts.
Yeah, it might work out. And at the same time, I still hold to the fact that I don't think it was a big issue for the Justice League to be teased in ZSJL. I mean, in a Batman v Superman, because BVS is more so of a world building movie. It was more so of a world building movie than anything else. So, with that being said, Evan, do you think you guys, do you think there's a legitimate concern for all these heroes to be with James Gunn's Superman, or is it not a problem at all?
No.
None
No
whatsoever. I agree with Evan.
I don't think it's a problem at all. I think that it depends on the portrayals of the characters more so than trying to do too much at once. I think James Gunn is going to, I think this is going to be a Superman film with a bunch of heroes making cameos, which I'm totally fine with. Like, you can have heroes show up here and there. You can have an already established universe and, build from there. The complaint in ZSJL, or not ZSJL, BVS wasn't just they tried to do too much in one film, which I am of the mindset that is what happened in a large sense. But more than that, it was the portrayal of the characters themselves. Lex Luthor being more like Riddler, Joker had a baby than the maniacal Luthor we've all known. Doomsday looking totally different than anything we've ever seen. Superman giving up hope. Batman being a cynic. There was just so much there that was so just different that rubbed DC fans the wrong way. And it was so anti MCU that people who liked the MCU didn't care for it. The DC fans were turned off because they didn't care for the way Batman or Superman or Lex or Doomsday were portrayed. Uh, Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman being the one shining bright spot of like, okay, no complaints there with her. She did just fine. Um, so I think if James Gunn gives Superman and Batman the justice they deserve, if he gives us a good Superman uh, and does justice by these characters, I don't see there being a problem. Because I think James Gunn knows that the DCEU or DCU now, I'm just saying DCEU. The DCU has a real chance right now to rise up, and I don't know that they're going to get another one because we still have a while. Like Deadpool and Wolverine's going to come out. After that, DC Superman, you're next up at bat. This movie's got to wow people. Now, I said in the pod a few ones back, I said this movie can't be not bad. This movie can't be people walking out of the theater going, it wasn't terrible. It was okay. It was all right. No, this movie's got to kick butt. It's got to be, no pun intended, super. It's got to be
Phenomenal.
It has to be because you've got to get people hyped to see the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one. That's how cinematic universes work. So I don't think the concern is that. I think that's not my concern. My concern is who's even interested in the DCU at this point. That's my concern. My concern is we've been going on 8 years now, or actually, Man of Steel was released in 2013, wasn't it? 13?
13.
Yeah. So we've been going on 11
13.
years now of some build up disappointment, some build up disappointment. That's what we've been going through for the better part of 11 years. And there comes a point where people are just like, I don't care anymore. I just don't care. Like, I am concerned that even if this movie is good, even if, like, let's say this movie gets an 80% across the board on Rotten Tomatoes, I'm still concerned that this movie won't be a box office smash hit. Because I think we might be at a point now where people look at the DCU and they're just like, I'm burnt out on it. Just because we have had so many disappointments over the years. So that's my concern.
Yeah. This shit, man. I hate it. I mean, I would hate it for James Gunn, but there's just it's the most inconceivable dilemma for DC and Warner Brothers to be in. It was unfortunate for everybody, which has, I think, caused this sort of this is like this vitriol in the DC community between between old school DC fans, between Snyder fans, and just there is too much vitriol for nothing. I think you're gonna get all these different interpretations anyway, but at some point you do get sick of going to the theater and sort of being let down. And I'm of the opinion, I think it's one thing to leave a theater and to be sort of in the middle, on something, or for there to be mass debate about something or a movie. I think that's one thing. I think it's an entirely different thing to go to the theaters and have the studio just completely, just boom the fans with garbage. You know what I'm saying? Like going to see Justice League, I just looked down. I said, Jesus. Or Suicide Squad. My parents even hated that movie. My parents don't even know comics, and they hated that movie. Um, Going to see um, what else? I mean, I didn't even go see Shazam or Shazam 2. I mean,
Oh man, you should have
Wonder
seen the
Woman
Shazam
84 was
reviews. Come on.
Wonder Woman
no,
84.
no, no.
What do you mean
And
no?
Wonder Woman.
I can't argue.
Bro,
I
it's
can't argue
not.
if you're on Wonder
No,
Woman
it's just
2. That was
not. It's just
embarrassing.
not it. It wasn't it.
No, and that's been the
Yeah,
story of DC.
that was them trying to save some sort of face. I don't know what they were doing. Yeah, it's you cut out a little bit, Evan.
So are you, bro.
Wait. So it's not just me? I thought
I'm
I
cutting
thought
out
I
too.
heard you guys cut out, but oh, okay. Thought it was just me.
No, it's not just you.
No, it's
Yeah.
not. Let me see some. Let me see something here. Something.
Oh, what happened? Oh, okay.
What's up? I'm here. I think we have a stream crash.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What happened to Evan? He fell out.
Yeah, I think he fell out.
Mm.
Looks like we're back. You good?
Oh yeah. I'm good.
Yeah, sorry about that. We had a little stream crash. Something went down. I don't know what happened. I don't know what it was. Looks like we got it fixed though.
You tell Evan that you got to figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah, that was weird. That was very weird. But anyways. Oh, okay. Yeah. Something definitely went down.
That's unfortunate.
Don't know what. Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, don't know what happened there. Damn. Damn. That pretty much sucks, man. That's crap.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, huh?
Yeah, it be like that sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it be like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think Evan's trying to come back in.
Did he message you or something?
Yeah, I messaged him.
Oh, okay, got it.
Well, alrighty then. I guess we will have to end the stream there after the crash, but it was still a fun one, and I will work
Yeah,
on getting those for next time stream.
no problem. All right, it was awesome talking to you, man. And you and Evan too.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, man. Have a great night. Have a great night.
You too. You have a good night. Tell Evan I said good night, okay?
Will do, broski.
Awesome.
Later. And we will conclude tonight's pod with that. Had a little bit of a crash there. Don't know what happened. But this podcast will be available wherever you listen to your podcast, and we'll have it up for you guys. So we'll catch you guys later, and you guys have a great, great night. Peace.